Hello, ESBGs. I'm very excited about this new formula of a combined local and in-person and also global online event for ESBG 2021. I think it offers us new possibilities, new opportunities for connection and dissemination of our straw bale and earth building passions and skills. So I'm Lydie, I'm a biologist. I've studied and worked in the three fields of landscape ecology, urban architecture and construction, and bodywork therapy. And for the last 17 years, I've mainly been working for and with ASTER, the French National Earth Construction Association, Fédération Éco-Construire, the French Federation of Training Centers for Natural Building, and our European Earth Builders Network, Earth Build Europe. So today I will present, or we will present to you, others will join me, one of our latest and most exciting European funded projects called JUMP. JUMP because at some point it becomes more painful to stay than to jump. Jump into the unknown, the uncomfortable, the unwalked. Many of us have experienced this at a personal level at some point in our lives. And now we have reached a point in history where this becomes true at a collective level. We have to jump. This is even more clear in 2021 now than it was in November 2016 when I gave this name to the project. So JUMP Training for Change has been a EU-funded project, and it will in the coming month become a training for trainers in eco-building. And actually it is open to anybody wanting to enter or deepen the process of change, or anybody looking for group experience and group support in that process. But let me go back to the beginning of the story. So at the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, we have set up a partnership between 8 organizations from 6 countries, UK, France, Germany, Slovakia, Austria, and Sweden, with the double aim to spread our teaching materials, competence standards for building with straw bales and clay, and assessment frameworks. And on the other hand, also to explore what it is that drives our cooperation on a European level with very little funding, sometimes none, since nearly 20 years. And also how we could improve and change our teaching and training practices themselves. Because if we pretend to still be the pioneers in ecological building, housing, and living, the very way we teach has to reflect our values and worldviews. So we may ask, how ecological, holistic, sustainable, cooperative, supportive are our trainings? What is change about? Where do we meet resistance? How do we deal with that? So we planned for 6 transnational meetings, 1 in each country, and 2 trial trainings for trainers of our organizations in the end. And we did them, the 6 meetings, and unfortunately just 1 trial training. So our kickoff was an immersion into the unexpected, a 3 days workshop getting in touch with the more intangible aspects of our work: creativity, empathy, cooperation, connection to nature, storytelling, etc. And it was organized in the fall of 2017 by our Swedish partners from Tillitsverket. And from there we took it a step further at each meeting, involving new participants, builders and trainers from local organizations. So we met in France at Batipol, exchanging teaching practices. We went to Austria, where we first held our first dissemination event and managed to involve other people outside of our group. In the UK, we had the chance really to weave all this into Ibagai's Clay Fest. And then in Slovakia, in the autumn of 2018, No, 19, no, I can't remember. Anyway, things were a little bit more down to earth and nitty gritty. We were struggling with bringing all this into written form, and also struggling with some issues inside of our partnership. But then by February 2020, so yes, Slovakia was 2019, February 2020 in Germany, we were ready for a synthesis, or I think we could say a symphony at Bivena in Verden, Germany, where 23 jumpers and 12 brave pioneers, that's 35 people, co-created the fabulous experience, confirming the transformative, joyful, and cooperative potential of our approach in training trainers and in training eco-construction. Unfortunately, the corona madness prevented us from holding the second trial training as initially planned. But anyway, our 4 modules are ready to be released and brought to life by and for more trainers from all over Europe and beyond. And before I walk you quickly through these 4 modules, let me tell you what they, let me tell you that they are actually like the 4 directions of a compass for us. North is the future. North is where we want to go. It's sustainability. East, that's the new beginnings. It's the new mornings. It's where we are learning. And so also where we are teaching and changing. South, that's the full blossom of, it's the warmth of cooperation. And finally, West, that's sunset. It's when we look back, when we evaluate what we have done, assess our skills and so on. So each module points to aspects that we consider to be essential to our work as trainers, builders, change makers, and so on. And the idea is not to give ultimate definitions, guidelines, recipes, and answers to these themes, but to allow everyone to explore, to ask questions, to open doors, to broaden and deepen or complement our perspectives. So here now are a few examples of session plans that we have designed and tested. For the model called Sustain, so about sustainability and regeneration, there's activities and sessions about self-care, the environment, the bioclimatic approach to eco-construction, assessment criteria, eco-labels and certifications for construction, life cycle analysis or assessment, the current planetary crisis, how to take action individually and collective initiatives. Module Teach and Learn is about how do we welcome a group, how do we do opening circles, our story of learning, some neurobiology and neuroplasticity, about neuroplasticity, communication within systems, tipping points, values to change the teaching, jump ingredients, how to prepare training, loads of examples of free play and games, and if we have a toolbox, and also learning, getting more comfortable with online and multimedia resources. Assessment, so exploring assessment, ECVET, it's the European credit system for vocational education and training that we have based lots of our work on in the previous years. So explain this to others, how to use learning outcomes, MOU certificates, and so on, ECVET and learning pathways, how to assess progress, and resources for client draw building based on the ECVET principles. Also then how to assess knowledge, skills, and how to assess autonomy and responsibility. The role of feedback, reflection and self-assessment, and the back office work linked to all of this. And finally, module 4, well, it's not about the numbers. There's no hierarchy in these numbers. It's just sometimes easier to refer to, but this is about cooperation, And cooperation is about participation, gratitude, appreciation, group agreements, co-creation, cooperation in ecosystems, team building, communication, networking, collective work, and mobility facilitation. So jump trainers have already integrated pieces of this to their regular trainings. And by now, I hope that you are curious and you are asking, well, when and where can I participate in jump courses or workshops? And so, well, by the end of this year, we expect to start offering specific jump workshops in several countries. It's a matter of time for training centers to organize this with all the unforeseeable obstacles that may still arise when it comes to in-person gathering and traveling. But yeah, we also have applied for additional funding that would allow us to continue to create and test contents and activities together, including with new partners from other countries like Spain and Estonia. But we will see. And in any case, one plan is to start doing webinars in English, open to anybody, probably by November 2021, on a bi-weekly or maybe monthly basis. In the meantime, here is our website, trainingforchange.eu, where you will find our toolbox with loads of tools for group games, methods for group work, methods for evaluation, activities around values, and a few videos that we can recommend on different teams. Before we finish, I would like to come back to the present, July 2021. As you might know, for the first time ever since the current massive deforestation that has been going on for decades of our planet's last shields of large forests, so the Amazon and the old growth forests in the northwest of the American continent. These old forests now emit what's left of them. They emit more CO2 due to deforestation fires that they can actually absorb. So we have crossed the tipping point. Landslides, floods, droughts, storms, fires, the natural elements, the earth, the air, the water, the fire, they are now very loudly inside and around us, shaking and pushing us to take our calling for change seriously. We have to ask these questions. What is my purpose, my truth to voice, my action, my responsibility during this great turning? These questions cannot be unanswered by each of us. Kate Roberts, the designer and author of the Donut Economics, which you see here, graphics on the screen, has pointed towards 4 communities of practice that she believes are ready to embrace the challenge and act. And these are cities, businesses, communities, and teachers. We are in the right place as trainers. There is tremendous power in our hands, our hearts, our minds, if only we dare to step into our own authority. It's definitely not only about earth or straw or carbon. It's about our consciousness and attitude towards life and how we convey this. And if we realize that today everybody is called to become a trainer, a conveyor of the message, a transmitter, facilitator of community, of natural building, natural food, clothing, and so on, permaculture, then JUMP is for all of us. We can only make it together. I will finish on or add a more personal note. I've been invited to do this presentation about a month ago. And as a scientist and then as a European project leader, I have facilitated hundreds of meetings and dozens of workshops, spoken in many of recorded in-person or online meetings and events. And during personal development sessions, I have practiced singing and voicing in front of strangers. And nevertheless, I wrestled and struggled to sit alone with my computer and video record this piece for you. So there is always a new situation, a new context to the work that we are doing, uncovering yet another limitation or shadow inside of us to be faced and embraced. So this too is what JUMP is about. See you there.
Vision ist wertlos. Vision ohne Technik ist
Technik
wirkungslos.
ohne Vision ist wertlos.
Vision is worthless. Vision without technology is ineffective.
JUMP
Jump!
ist ein Trainer-Projekt im Bereich ökologisches Bauen. Es will Technik und Vision zu etwas Größerem verbinden. Nachhaltigkeit, Ganzheitlichkeit, Menschlichkeit.
Is a train-the-trainer project in the field of ecological building. It aims to combine technology and vision into something greater, which is sustainable, holistic and humanistic.
Want the change. In puncto Technik baut das Projekt JUMP auf den über Jahrzehnte erarbeiteten Fertigungsmethoden im Strohballenbau und im Earthbuilding auf. Beide Bauweisen wurden in ECVET-zertifizierten Trainings gelehrt.
In terms of technology, the JUMP project is based on the manufacturing methods developed over decades in straw bale and earth building. Both methods of construction are taught in the ECVET-certified courses.
Im Fokus stehen der Einsatz nachhaltiger, baubiologisch vorteilhafter Materialien, Ressourcenschonung, erneuerbare Energien, Solararchitektur etc.
The attention is focused on the use of sustainable, biologically beneficial materials, conservation of resources, renewable energy, solar architecture.
Join the change! Die Vision fügt dem das Attribut ganzheitlich hinzu und bestimmt Werte auf der immateriellen Ebene.
The vision adds the attribute holistic and specifies values at the intangible level.
Probleme kann man niemals mit derselben Denkweise lösen, durch die sie entstanden sind. Ein Zitat von Albert Einstein. Bedeutet, eine Veränderung des Systems ist nur möglich durch eine Veränderung der Grundlagen des Systems.
Albert Einstein's word, problems can never be solved with the same way of thinking that created them means, to change a system change is inevitable.
Ein Systemwandel ist unumgänglich. Kooperation statt Konkurrenz. Mitbestimmung, ein Ende von Profit als oberstem Ziel des Wirtschaftens auf der Basis des gefährlichen Mythos vom ewigen Wachstum. Der Fokus liegt auf dem Gemeinwohl.
Cooperation rather than competition, co-determination, an end to profit as the paramount economic objective, based on the dangerous myth of eternal growth. The focus lies on the common good.
Be the change! Für einen so fundamentalen Paradigmenwechsel bedarf es wahrlich eines mutigen Jump. Damit auch dieser selbst nachhaltig ist, fließen alle erworbenen Kompetenzen, Kenntnisse und Fähigkeiten in die Ausarbeitung eines Lehrgangs zur erweiterten Trainerausbildung.
For such a fundamental paradigm shift, you really need a brave jump. To make this truly sustainable, all acquired competencies, knowledge and skills contribute to the creation of a course for extended training of trainers.
Lernen ist Entwicklung und Veränderung. Lernen ist menschlich.
Learning is development and change. Learning is human.
Teach the change!
Yeah.